Hello everybody and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at LootHeroDX, which I found on Steam. Now, LootHeroDX is made by Vagart P, who also made Plantera, which we looked at not that long ago, although to be fair, yes, a long time ago. It's been a while since I made a video. Loot Hero is a casual single-player indie game, and I decided that for these games it probably makes sense for me to play quite a bit first before actually talking about them. So I was able to see that just like Plantera, this game screamed mobile game ported over. I actually did my research beforehand this time and saw that it is indeed available for iOS and Android. If you just look for the name Loot Hero, DX appears to be the particular variant on Steam. But before I say anything else, let me say that this game was ported very well, just like Plantera. Vagart P seems to do I hope I'm saying that name of the developer and publisher right, seems to do a very good job of this. So let's hop in to play, but before we do, let me just show you my favorite feature. As you can see, this has controller support, because it has controller prompts for the buttons all over the place. If I take my mouse cursor and click in the game, instantly everything changes. This little pulsing white thing is where my mouse cursor is, and this would be where your finger is tapping. If you were playing this on mobile as desired, we're just going to take a quick look at the option menus to see how brief it is. This is actually one of my very few complaints about this game. Is no, do not want to quit. Quit and close are two similar words. That's why I think a lot of people have X's to close their menus, because to me close means close the game. But I suppose quit is more clearly closing the game. I hope you forgive me for, I'm going to use controller support. I hope you forgive me for having a scratchy voice. I've been pretty sick recently, which is one of the reasons why I haven't made a video, as I didn't have a voice for the past 2 weeks. But let's launch in. I'm going to join on my level 25 character here to show you what the game is like. We'll start out with looking at the achievements here. You can see I've gotten most of them. A lot of them aren't too difficult. Some of them just kind of happen inherently as you play. But there's a good deal of them. And the bestiary is all the different enemies in the game. Oh yes, there's quite a few. Whole new set for each stage. You kind of just happen upon. There's no way you don't come across those. So basically, you just move left and right. That's the whole thing. You are a knight, and as you move to the side, you hit enemies, and they hit you, and they do a little bit of damage, and you do some damage to them. So you kind of have to continuously level up your stats so that your health doesn't move down as quickly as theirs. And that's it. So much like Plantera, it is essentially a clicker. Just tap it's not a clicker in the sense that you're clicking a lot in this, as you are seeing here, but in fact on the mobile version, if we go ahead and switch to the mouse controls, you can see that my knight changes direction based on which side of the screen I'm hovering over or tapping on, if you're on mobile. And so by clicking down on that side is how you get the knight to move. So in fact, it kind of is a clicker because you're just holding your finger on a different side of the screen. And I don't want you to think that I'm going to use the controller because it's just a little easier. That does not take away from this game in the slightest. That was a boss fight. I'm pretty out-leveled for him. Because the fact that you are kind of side-scrolling on this adventure, as far as I can tell, is actually a pretty big departure from the clicker. You know, leveling up these 4 stats and a couple other things as well is pretty standard fare. You know, let's be honest, it's not incredible. As a matter of fact, having only 4 things to spec into is actually not that much. But the fact that you are going on this adventure, and actually, because I've played this character, you didn't see the intro cinematic kind of thing with this pixel arty dragon that's coming, sort of summoned these hordes of bad guys on all these different lands. And as you know, this is a different terrain than the previous level, so it's a different set of enemies as well. These ones are slightly more difficult, and there was the boss, way out leveled for him too. So you know, there is this reason to do it, and it's not a lot, but it just gives you so much more than like a cookie clicker, you know. So let's just skip ahead a couple here. See, now they're really hitting me, so we really have to think about this. So I can, if I wanted to be lazy, or if I wanted to, you know, be slow about, there we go, died, lost some money. If I wanted to be slow about things, I could hit a guy and then wait for the regen, and then hit another guy. Just kind of live like that. I think I will probably not want to do that, though, because it is slow and annoying. But if we can level up our defense here, we can fare a little better. We even got a critical hit, which kind of puts us into turbo mode for a brief period. So overall, let's talk about the aesthetic. I mean, you've seen a couple zones now. You've seen a good number of enemies. You know, this is probably going to take too long. Let's go ahead and quit this level. And I'm going to actually, before we talk about that, I'm going to talk about, I've actually beaten the final boss twice, and this whole game is based around New Game Plus. So you go through the, I mean, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 stages of the game. Fight the dragon, and then all the enemies get harder. You can see the difficulty counter at the top. It actually, they all continuously grow, so, yeah, so, and every time you beat that, you get a miner. So if we go to the mine here, you can see I've got some gold, and this is kind of like a typical clicker mechanic where even when you're away from the game, it calculates how much time between your playthroughs, and they will have harvested gold at a pretty slow rate, but you're getting more of them each time you beat the game. So there's a reason to come back. So, you know, if I take that money, that'll give us a boost for us to be able to buy some more defense and maybe actually be able to take on that ice, the ice one, but we were still a little bit too far down, so I'm actually gonna take on this Tiki. We'll buy some defense because we knew that was lacking. And I'm trying to get an achievement here where I actually max out my attack capabilities, so I'm kind of focusing on attack. And I have to say that it is not possible. You saw we almost died there. It is definitely not possible for you to only spec into one stat and expect to succeed, which is, you know, so you do have to kind of think about what you're buying, or else you're going to be replaying the same levels over and over again, grinding, you know, grinding the same amount of money and the same amount of experience, except the amount of money you need to upgrade and the amount of experience you need to level up increases as you play the game. So that's kind of silly for you to want to stay in that same place. So there definitely is a good reason for you to think wisely, and I haven't really necessarily needed to worry about criticals and speed. The criticals are definitely very useful. I think the criticals are referring to when I get the yellow glow like you just saw right there. That was perfect timing, and kind of cruise through the enemies. But if you increase attack, from what I can tell, sorry, my throat is still pretty sore, I needed a drink. From what I can tell, it kind of, you still do pretty good during your criticals. Maybe that's not what a critical is. I guess that's a critical. Yeah, I guess that is. I don't know what that is, the yellow glow is, but when the word critical appears, that's a critical. I don't really worry about them. I'm sure they're good, but I haven't really worried about them too much because I want to get that achievement for speccing all the way into one stat all the way. All right, well, so let's talk about the aesthetic, since I've blathered on about the rest of this. I've showed you how, in terms of the UI, I've showed you how when I click into the game, the entire thing changes. All the buttons are gone. I now use my mouse and I tap on either side. That's really great. You know, I guess it's like the video game version of being responsive, right? Because it's just, as soon as I change what kind of input I'm using, all the buttons change. I love that. But the rest of it, I kind of like. Overall, it's very cute, and I really enjoy the art. But like this screen, this screen here features a lot of pixel art and non-pixel art, and it's a little jarring. And if we even play a level, you can even kind of tell, like the font seems to be pixel arty. I love that when we're on this ice one, he breathes little particles of air though. I also like how when I level up my attack, there's like a bunch of different weapons it cycles through. So if you start off with a jousting pointy stick, and you go through lots of other stuff like a huge mace and lots of other crap. We'll see here. See, well, it actually didn't change that time. Interesting. Buy some speed here. See us move a little quicker. Actually, I forgot. You actually can dial. We can dial down the speed if you want. So this is how slow you go when you start. And then as you get more levels, you can increase the speed and very fast. Defense. So it's nice, you know, the aesthetic changes a little bit as you play. There's in the art style of the different stages is really great. They clearly put in time of, you know, these guys are riding mammoths and you're in the snowy place, and the bosses are all different looking, and you're going to be seeing them over and over again. So it's good that good that they put in the time. But again, like, I just can't help but think that you know, some of the stuff here doesn't necessarily fit in. During a level, things kind of fit in okay, but like the little gems and stuff. And actually, this level, it looks better than most. Perhaps if I maybe just finish this one out. And take a look at some of the other ones. They kind of look like maybe they took an actual picture of a tree. Oh, I played it again. Yes, back out. They took an actual picture of a tree and like scaled it until it fit the low resolution they were looking for. Or like this. Maybe this will be. Whoop. I'm sorry. Maybe this will show. See, it doesn't. Well. Yeah, you know, it's kind of grown on me. I gotta be honest. At first, I didn't really like it too much, but it's kind of grown on me. I do think that this was made for mobile, and that a big part of it is that it was supposed to be on a smaller screen. So that is, I'm playing this on a computer monitor at 1080p, which might not be what it was intended for. So yeah. Other than that, love the aesthetic, and it's not even that bad. The pixel art isn't even that bad. And again, probably not supposed to be looked at like this. So, I mean, I guess I've kind of talked a lot about what I want to talk about overall. I think that the New Game Plus model is great for a game that's a clicker, because obviously you want to be invested in it for a long time. I think having the miners in there gives you a reason to come back. I think that having this, having it not just be a stationary character that you tap, and not have it be so focused on the miners aspect, where you're just sort of getting things that sort of automate the process for you, like a cookie clicker style game or a Disco Zoo style of game. I think that's great that they decided to actually put in some, I guess what I should be mentioning here is, like, my controller's vibrating when I hit these enemies. When I hit the small ones, it vibrates a little, and when I hit the big ones, it vibrates a little more. At least that's what it feels like to me. That kind of a thing is just like, they ported it so well, and they expanded what a clicker was just enough to keep me engaged. And they did the same thing with Plantera as well, where you actually had to decide what to upgrade. Ooh, thought we could do it. We were close. When you actually had to decide what to upgrade and where to plant stuff, and you know, kind of had to be on the lookout for pests in your garden. I think that it was, again, just this minimalistic expansion of, not minimalistic, just this maybe I should say minuscule expansion of a clicker that was just enough to take it into the realm of something else, something slightly more worth playing, in my opinion. Gosh, I'm really losing it. I guess we should get a defense. And I would love for them to make more games like this, where maybe they expand slightly more than they're doing, because they're doing it well. They're picking good mechanics to add, and they're simple mechanics, but they're good mechanics. And they're made well, and they're ported well. And they're worth being on Steam because they bother to put in controller support that makes a lot of sense, and really clear UI of how to use the controller as opposed to how to use the mouse or how to tap. And although this thing, where with the white cursor where I tap on either side, is clearly a remnant of mobile, it doesn't really not work. You know what I mean? Like, in a certain sense, I could almost see... my first instinct was, wow, I wish I had WASD or the arrow keys and just used A and D or the arrow keys left and right to do this. But then I realized that, like, in a certain sense, if I could just sit back and play one-handed and maybe eat a burrito in the other hand, I wouldn't mind that. So maybe this isn't so bad after all. I don't know. All right, so let's see. Did I max out the strength stat there? I may have done it. But I think I've touched on everything I want to touch on. Let me show you. Let me see if we can do a dragon fight here to finish it off. So we'll get this boss. Overall, I would say this is a lot of fun. I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting it for Steam, because how often do you want to sit mindlessly? Maybe if you're like me and have videos to render, then or something else like that. If there's other stuff that you need to do, wait for downloads to happen. I take it back. That's actually a great reason to play this on Steam. But overall, probably not going to fit most players. But But if the mobile version is this game, which I don't see why it wouldn't be this game. Wow, that dragon is hard. Okay. Then I would highly recommend it. I might even buy it on Android. I was earlier I was playing by not speccing into just one, but actually evenly distributing my points, and that was actually going a little better. I would say that was going a little better in the early game, and then I decided to go for the there we go. Take that. So, congratulations, you've slayed the dragon 3 times. Difficulty levels have been reached. I would assume that this goes on forever. So a miner has been rescued. And we should be able to check here and collect some easy gold. Quit this, come back after tomorrow when I'm rendering a new video and have a whole bunch more gold. Pretty cool stuff. This has been LootHeroDX. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank the developers, Vagart P, for making such a wonderful game and sending me a key to review this for them. Other than that, I received no compensation for the video, and that is the only thing that would influence my opinion of the game. As I said before, my overall recommendation is maybe if you ever find yourself waiting around on a computer, it's a not a bad choice, but if you probably more will likely find yourself in that situation wanting to play a game like this on your phone. Thanks for watching. See you all next time.